Hello everyone, Burb here. It's time for me to talk about late surgers in the Pisces Cup. If you do not know, this is my favorite role. My favorite character in this game plays this role. And there's not as much content for late surgers because they generally are not the highest top of meta strategy. So, without further ado, let's begin. We got a lot to go through. As a disclaimer, second anniversary changes could still randomly happen. I highly doubt it at this point, but if they do change, there's certain characters that would get additional acceleration options, and the big thing that would happen is on your left would change to the first half of the late race from the regular half. So if anything, late surgers would get better. But as of right now, and most likely, late surgers do remain a non-top meta pick. Are late surgers good? Like I said, they're okay. They can win, but they are not frontrunners and they are not end closers. And on this long CM, this is a Citizen Black and end closer meta. So you're not playing for the meta, you're playing for the love of the game. So their strengths, they have a lower stamina requirement than everyone else. This is probably the biggest strength because makes it easier to build a late surger than any other role because the stamina requirement on this CM is absolutely massive. In addition, you do have a timing acceleration gold gambling skill, which is more than the pace chasers can really say because they have head on. But on your left is better than head on, in my opinion, by 0.1. They also have a high late race speed and a long spurt. You're about a length and a half behind end closers. So the advantage end closers have is a lot less than you think. The thing is that straightaway spurt is a guaranteed acceleration and you're gambling on your accelerations. Your negatives are, of course, you do not have a guaranteed acceleration, you do not have spurt, you do not have Citizen Black ult, and the pace down mode is real tough. You can get Umamusume to counter this, you can get straight skills to counter this sometimes, but the PDM is going to push you back between 6 and 10 lengths, and a lot of times the end closers with Umamusume are going to be in front of you, and that is a major problem for late surgers. You do have a lower mid-race speed coefficient, it's slightly lower than end closers, so they will naturally try to gain on you. And it's very difficult to find your gold recoveries on late surgers still, even with the addition of lion weight. I have updated the stats. I've lowered the width threshold. These are minimum stats. Like I said, the best thing you can do is increase your stamina from 1,000 to 1,200 if you can reach it. If not, perfectly fine. We'll talk about stamina. And then, of course, get as much power and weight as you can. But as I've been finding, people who don't have perfect decks struggle to hit these stats to begin with. So your priority should be stamina, then speed, then hit your power to 800, and then finally get wit. Wit is still a luxury stat. I know there's a very, very large downhill in the late race, but if you can't hit your stamina, you ain't spurting. So that's the counterpoint. Let's talk about the stamina advantage. Late surgers, because they take less energy over time, they have roughly a 75 stamina advantage at 1,000. It's technically logarithmic, so the distance between 900 and 1,000, it's a little bit less of an advantage, but at 1,000, 75 stamina advantage is about where you're at. This is where you're going to be. 1,200, about 75. Should you take this into account? I don't believe so. What you should do is you should consider this as your debuff resistance. So build like you would build a minimum, like fall over paper Uma rather than your tank Uma, and then allow the 75 stamina advantage to deal with one debuff. So it's going to give you consistency and just build the Uma like normal, okay? Remember that you are fighting against Encroaching Shadow, Straightaway Spurt, and Victory Cheer. Victory Cheer as a inherit only is about a length, 1.9 lengths. On Citizen herself, it's almost 4 lengths, 3.23. Narita Taishin's your other biggest problem because of Encroaching Shadow, 4.43 lengths. So that is the mark that you are trying to get against. Also, these end closers, like I said, have about a 1.5 length advantage. So you can either fight them in the mid race or you can fight them in the late race, but you are behind by roughly 6 to a Taishin that hits perfectly. That won't always happen, though. Straightaway Spurt is only 2.42 lengths, so it's roughly 4 lengths you got to make up for the end closers. You do start 3 to 4 lengths ahead of the end closers, but you're kind of in Umamusume, territory in whether or not the end closers immediately push in front of you. So this is why Umamusume is a good skill on late surges as well. Your acceleration options you have on your left and Slick Surge, and then the standard No Stopping Me, Ig Guts, and Ig Power. These are really the only real accelerations that are guaranteed, or at least have a timing-based acceleration to give you a very good chance. Like I said in the previous Pace Chaser video, No Stopping Me is roughly like a 1 in 3 if it procs, but most likely if it's procking, it's right on this corner because everyone's still clustered up. Ig Power and Ig Guts is again like about a 1 in 3. And on your left is about a 1 in 3 or Slick Surge. You need to hit pretty much on your left or Slick Surge to break even with the end closers if you do a perfect proc on both of those. Ideally, you hit on your left plus a Nimble Navigator, or you hit a No Stopping Me plus a Slick Surge, something in the realm of possibilities. It's very difficult to overcome the 6 length advantage that the end closers have through acceleration alone. So what you do is you supplement this with late race speed mainly in general, okay? You have gamble accelerations. They're the same gamble accelerations as a lot of them. Sorry about this. I forgot about that in the Pace Chaser guide. Technician don't exist. You have Fighter instead, which does not work. Fighter will proc in the early game. Rushing Gale, straightaway acceleration are a 1 in 4 for Rushing Gale. Does it choose the correct straight? You can do that if you have points. We're finding out we still don't have points. There's so many skills to buy. Radiant Star is a 1 in 6. It does have a stamina recovery, as we said, so possibly you can use your late surger advantage to go gold recovery Radiant Star instead of double gold recovery if you have like 1100 stamina. That is an option. Radiant Star only procs in the zone where pre-spurt about 1 out of every 3 times. Tamama Cross ult is weak for acceleration. And surprisingly enough, Gold City ult, oddly enough, if you're in 3 to 6 and you are attempting to overtake, one of 2 things can happen. You either proc early and nothing happens, or you don't proc it and then you proc on your left early or Nimble Navigator early, and then you satisfy the as overtake condition and possibly keep it real works at that point. It's a little bit cope, okay? PDM breaking is kind of important on end closers and late surgers. Umamusume is a very good skill. Simulator does not give it justice what it does. So because it's a long CM, the duration of Umamusume is so long that it's going to encompass most, if not all, of the position keep, which means that an end closer, if it procs at the right time or it combos with a straight skill, will basically ignore position keep for most of the early game into the start of the mid game where the position keep ends. This is pure RNG. It's almost impossible to model consistently. We can only really speculate, but empirical data as well as room matches have shown that characters with Umamusume end up at the very least in front of other characters in their pack, and at the very best in the pack ahead of them. So you even have end closers in the Pace Chaser pack if they get lucky enough with Umamusume. So how you counter this is, hey, you pick Umamusume too. It is not 100% required, but you have the possibility of getting kidnapped by an end closer as it gets PDM'd, and you also have the possibility of end closers just having a massive advantage over you because they, again, have a speed advantage over you in the late race. Your mid-race speed skills, you do have more options than the end closers, okay? You have Umamusume, like I said, but long corners and late surger corners, these are the standard ones: pro, curve, corner, depth, playtimes, over, slipstream. These 4 can proc twice, these 2 cannot. We have figured out that correction in the previous video. Late surgers also have, do I see here? Yep, they do. So we have Beeline Burst, same thing as before. Embody and Mind Homestretch Haste is late race. It's on ramp up. And then feature act 5 or better is a little bit tough because you're gambling on a very end closer heavy pack, and you're gambling that Umamusume is not going to cause you to be in the back of the pack. So those 2 things need to happen. Now, granted, if Umamusume, like 4 end closers come up in front of you, are you winning the race? Probably not. But I don't think that feature act is as good as the other mid-race speed skills. Long straightaways, late surge straightaways, all good, standard stuff. Other skills, the one that you have over the end closers because it's easier to get than Daring Strike is Fast and Furious. It can proc at any point in the race. It has a shorter duration. It is a little bit more potent, but Fast and Furious is good. It is a lot easier to acquire than, and Position Pilfer is a lot easier to acquire than Daring Strike is, in my opinion. Now, Ayabe Power has sort of evened itself out. That's why this is an end closer cup, but it's there. You know what you're doing if you do nothing ventured. 15 mil CC is pretty good. It's either late race or mid race speed. It is slightly inefficient, but it's still perfectly fine. And Tama alt is still a mid race speed skill that has the chance of carry over. Your late race speed skill, you have the standard Best in Japan that's going to come out in the next card that's released. Rising Dragon is your advantage over enclosures for late race. You have Rising Dragon, which is if you're on the outer. If you take an outer path, you will possibly get late race speed as well. And then innate experience, inside scoop, IBAM, those are all standard ones. Of course, innate experience is better than IBAM because IBAM can get clipped and innate experience cannot, but they're there. Late race speed skill inherits. You have the same ones as pretty much everyone else. The only thing that's a little bit better is Rudolph. Rudolph is pass in 3. Lights of Vaudeville most likely will be procced later, so you most likely will clip it a little bit later as well. Now, granted, it's not as bad because it's a shorter duration, but it's there. And there's a lot of late race speed skills that exist in the game. The Teos are a little bit weird. Certain Victory is a little bit easier at this point because you can overtake targets easier in the backliners, as well as this 5- rather than 3-. 3- and 4- of Barco Roll Blessings kind of make these skills a lot of iffy, and these are expensive, so they're not the greatest anymore. And Biwa Haihide is the one we're adding to this. It's 4- and pass. By the time you're in 4th or better in the situations where you're going to win the race, if you need a little bit more, this will happen early enough. It can proc late. It's basically homestretch haste, but it is there. There's a lot more late race speed skills that exist in the game. It's pretty much every single ultimate in the game for a backliner. So the ones that you have plus these ones will be good. I still don't like overwhelming pressure the most. There is this there is this dead zone, and especially on late surges, if you hit NSM on somebody, you're right next to them. If you pass them immediately, you're not getting anything from pressure. That's really the basis of it, is that the situations where you're going to win, overwhelming pressure loses value. That is my personal opinion. Other people may have different situations, but I feel like when you're going to get Nimble Navigator and you're going to win the race, you're not getting overwhelming pressure because you're getting clipped. Okay? Your recoveries, you have a Lion Weight. Lion Weight is pretty much the only addition that they have. It's on a couple of cards that are pretty hard to get and a couple of characters. You also have Relax, but Relax is in the late race, which means that it will not affect spurt calculation. We're not too concerned with survival because usually the downhill will make us survive if we spurt, but it does trigger a recalculation, so it could possibly save you if you choose a bad line with your wit. Okay, so you have Swinging Maestro, Bofa, Cooldown, Lion Weight, and Stamina Siphon actually is useful now because you can be in the back half of the pack, as well as the white skills of these will be good as well. The reason why I was suggesting 1200 stamina or close to is because look at how many recoveries we have access to. It's not very many, so getting 2 of these is very unlikely. So most likely you're going for 1 gold recovery and 1 white recovery unless your character has a built-in innate gold recovery. So take that into consideration. The cards, the recovery getters, they are pretty much the same. The only difference is the Satono Diamond free wit card is a Lion Weight, as well as the Zenorabroy is a Lion Weight but has 0 RB. I have removed all the 50-50s because there's been discourse every single time about they're not 50-50s. They technically take the stats that you have. You also can't control when these events proc, so that's kind of the counterpoint to that. It's completely random. You can control it by pumping those particular stats, but at the end of the day, you can sometimes get them, you can sometimes not get them. All the free-to-play cards have this. So your big ones are Super Creek. That's probably your primary borrow this CM. As for your speed cards, Kidison Black, Professor of Curvature, you do technically have Teo with Nimble Navigator in it, as well as Nishino Flower with Beeline Burst and a bunch of Niner skills. If you have MTG because you're playing Pace Chasers a lot, or you just have a high LB one, this is not a borrow target, but she does come with Nimble Navigator. Gold Ship, as always, is a card that is very finicky, and this CM, you can't run this card, in my opinion. Even though it does have Umastand, you have to kind of get Umastand from parents if you are getting it. Fuku is just such a good card, as with Shinko Windy, that even though they only give you like minor skills and nothing and not much at all, they are just simply strong. The key of this CM is to pick cards that have very, very strong stat output. This is a stat CM. A couple of good skills will win you the race if they proc and you have your stamina and speed requirements. I'm going to grab a drink of water. This is going to be a very long video, so... All right, wit cards. If you don't need to borrow Super Creek, you're probably borrowing Nice Nature. On your left is two Slick Surges, so it's just simply better. You are gambling no matter what you do, and when you hit harder. So on your left is the Nice Nature card. You have No Stopping Me from Yukino Bijin, although Yukino Bijin has much less stat output than Nice Nature, so that you would borrow Nice Nature, and running Double Wit is a little bit difficult. Fine Motion does give Nimble Navigator as well. And you have the 10 race bonus free cards of Agnes Tachyon MLB if you do have her, but the Measure of Dober event card as well has 10 race bonus. If you do not have any of these and you just need Slick Surge and you're not wanting to get it from parents and it's not an 8 on your character, you do have Measure of Dober. So it's more for the Oshi players. If you need absolutely something, Measure of Dober does exist with Slick Surge. She does give you Savvy as well. Your other cards, most likely, you probably won't be able to run a lot of these, but I don't know why Chio's there. Chio is really just for 15% race bonus, and that's a Pace Chaser card, but Yaino Mateki, it's on a bunch of minor skills. If you're at this point, you're most likely already have a bunch of good stat generation cards. Narita Bryan's stamina is surprisingly good because it has Beeline Burst, pretty decent stamina output, and a bunch of minor skills. Your Umamusume can be done from Agnes Digital as usual. Nishino Flower is 15% race bonuses, all the same as before. The new free Measure Bright card, I believe, does have Overwhelming Pressure, although her stamina output's a little bit suspicious. It doesn't have any TEF, so it's really just pure stamina output with the 2 stamina bonus once you hit 80 friendship with her. Again, Best in Japan is on the group card when it does come out. Winning Ticket, Guts, does have on your left as an alternative and has pretty much every single white skill for late surgers that you will ever need and does have 10 race bonus, so it's really not that bad if you are somehow able to run Guts cards in the CM. The free Marvy card has 15 race bonus as well as Fast and Furious and a bunch of minor skills. It's pretty decent. Tamamo Cross Halloween Power has 15 mil. It's really the only way to grab it, I think, as well as maybe the other Tamo has it. And Bamboo Memory is Rising Dragon. It is another gamble, as well as Late Surger Straights, Straightaway Adept, and Homestretch Haste. These are all options that if you somehow are able to fit in a card without sacrificing your stats. Your best success is going to be when you hit your stats, so run your strongest deck. You may be able to fit a skill card in, but otherwise it's perfectly fine. Characters. I gave myself a limit of 10 p.m. That's when I'm recording it. So if I miss your character, I apologize. I tried to go from the top of the list to the bottom of the list in terms of what they give you. That is how this is organized, okay? So if I missed your character, I apologize, but I think I got most of them. So I'm not talking about these characters. Play these characters as front or end. I do talk about, I think, all the ends. Yep. So Tamama Cross is the best late surger, but please just run her end closer. She has Straightaway Spurt in the kit. If you do decide to run her late surger, White Lightning coming through, if you are in the proper positioning, which I believe is 3, 4, 6, and 7th, you get speed carryover. Most likely, I think it's guaranteed actually, but she also comes with Fast and Furious. That's her advantage over the end closer. The thing is that the end closers just are stronger with Straightaway Spurt. Therefore, you probably should play the character that has it innately in the kit in the position that is best for her. So she has very good stamina and power bonus in the long CM, as well as Tail 9 is a generally good universal skill. The best free-to-play character, in my personal opinion, is Machikane Tanhoisa. Mile D is the only problem, so you got to get her Mile Aptitude up. In the top right corner, I will show the Mile Aptitude if it is relevant and I remember. So Tamamo Cross was Mile E, Machikane Tanhoiser is Mile D. This character is surprisingly easy to build because she comes with Go-Go Moon. You are in the position where most likely you will be between 3rd and 6th at some point in the mid-race in the positions that you will actually win the game. Therefore, you have 1 gold recovery innately, as well as Overwhelming Pressure, which is a skill that I don't necessarily like, but hypothetically, if you're in 3rd to 6th, perhaps you are just waiting on hitting the front runner that dies, and maybe there's a little bit of a delay that it works. So Homestretch Haste is given by the scenario, but it's okay. Comes with Slick Surge, so all you're literally looking for in this character is get Nimble Navigator or No Stopping Me on this character with Slick Surge, and go for it. 20% stamina, very good. We're going to talk about the No Stopping Me characters. Mayano Top Gun, regular. The problem with this character is why aren't you really running her end closer? That's the only thing. You put Super Creek on this character and you have 2 gold recoveries innately. She comes with No Stopping Me, so all you get is on your left. So hypothetically, if you borrow Super Creek and you borrow you either borrow Super Creek and have nice nature, or you have nice nature and you borrow Super Creek. You have everything you need on this character. You just have to hit stats. Mile D, of course. If you need to run the mile track, you can run the medium long, and it's finding we're only about 300 skill points less. But MTG, pretty good. Should probably run her end closer or possibly front runner. She's pretty difficult actually because her ultimate doesn't really do anything in those early mile races. So you're going to find that you want to pick up some skills when they actually give them to you. My Iron Top Gun Wedding, the problem with this character is why are you running it? Because the other one has no stopping me. That's really it. You have to either get Yuki no Bijin to get NSM, and then otherwise you are at a disadvantage because you have Krika gives you Maestro, she has Maestro, so you're not really getting the bonus recovery from it. Her fast learn event apparently is disabled, so there's not that reason to run it either. So it's like, why are you running her end close? Why aren't you running her end closer? Why aren't you running the other Mayano Top Gun? Kawakami Princess has a surprising amount of stuff. She has long F, that's her big problem, so it's technically a force. But she comes with NSM, and she comes with Rising Dragon, which are two great skills. Laser Straits is a little bit of a minor skill that's really good. Tough things. Power bonus, gust bonus is kind of difficult on the longs. You will get some bonus guts, but speed and stamina are the two hardest things to grab. What's your third option? So it's like you don't have bonuses and the good stats. The other thing is her ultimate. They really did her dirty with her ultimate because you have to challenge somebody on the final straight, and in a long, this is probably why she's not really good in long. If you're not, I forget what it's exactly doing, but if you're in the back of the pack, I believe there's something about this ultimate that causes it to, if it's going to proc, it's going to either proc late or you're in a position where you're not going to win, on longs in particular. This is why this is more a mile medium horse, okay? I'm sorry, I forgot there's so many characters I had to do for this video. There's something about this ultimate that makes it a little bit iffy, and I will probably post it if there's a corrections video because I probably messed some stuff up. All right, if you can't get NSM on your character, the next thing that's good for you to get is on your left. So some on your left characters. Gold City is surprisingly strong if you're able to build her. Reason being is when her duration of Keep It Real is increased, all you have to do is late proc it and you do get acceleration into the late race. And I say all you have to do, but it is the is overtake condition, which is very finicky. So basically you have on your left, you have Slipstream, two good skills. Her bonuses are 10%, 20%, which is 20 power guts, which is not the greatest. Like I said with Kawakami Princess, she has mile, medium, long ABB, so she kind of plays herself. But basically, how do I put it? If you do not proc this immediately from procking a mid-race speed skill while someone is like directly in front of you, and it's very finicky, this could happen at any time. Hypothetically, if you proc on your left at perfect timing or good timing, and there's someone anywhere in the realm of you within 8 lengths, which should exist, because you're going to be running faster than them if they don't proc, if there's anyone to pass in that 15 seconds where the game calculates it, you will proc Keep It Real at the same time. The problem is that you have to be in 3rd through 6th with this, so you have to fight for the mid race, but not proc a skill that's going to increase your speed in that moment between the 50% mark and the late race, where it's weird. This character's like fighting itself on this long. It's really weird. But hypothetically and theoretically, it should work. It just seems a little tough to actually accomplish. So use this as your own risk. Festival's easier to build, but Dancing with the Leaves is basically a speed-only skill because it's final corner. She comes with Slick Surge, 1.5 mil. She doesn't come with On Your Left, but she comes with Lion Weight, which is an innate gold recovery, which is very, very good. Like, this is very difficult, and it's a gold recovery that's not corner adept. Better stat bonuses as well. Tosin Jordan, hard to build because of the stat bonuses mainly. Pop and Polish is a good skill. It will most likely proc pretty early on the final straight, and she comes with On Your Left, as well as Long Shot. I think it's better in Late Surger than she is in Pace Chaser, but she is much harder to build because there is no innate gold recovery. So you're most likely having to go really high stamina and get a gold recovery. Grass Wonder, quite easy to build because On Your Left is here. I think she's more of a medium, honestly, now that I think about it. Where there's a will, there's a way. If you're in the back of the pack in the final straight, it's a little tough because it's just a lot of ground to make up. So I don't think your ultimate is very good in this because you're probably fighting at least an end closer or two that have hit if you're in the back of the pack on the final straight. It's just the final straight is too far forward in this case. So not particularly strong, but good stat bonuses for what you're trying to do in this CM. If you can't get on your left and you can't get no stopping me, next best thing is an innate gold recovery. These are also the characters that will be the easiest to build because gold recoveries are the hardest thing to come by on late surgers, in my opinion. You can grab cards for your other skills. The gold recoveries, you have Creek, and the rest of them kind of fall off pretty quickly. New Year's Opera O has Swinging Maestro, has Headliner, but again, you have a situation where you want on your left to be in the back half of the pack, and Headliner and Barker will want to be in the front of the pack. So you hypothetically would have to be in the front of the pack going in to the late race, then fall back almost immediately into the back half of the pack for on your left to proc, and then somehow get all the way back into fourth or better for Barker Roll of Blessings at 400 meters. It just doesn't seem like all three of these are going to proc at once. This character is a lot better in the front of the pack as a pace chaser or a front runner, in my opinion. Super Creek, as we discussed, Mile G is pretty hard. You probably should play her in the pace chaser position, but hypothetically, she can be in the late surger position, although her ultimate is second through fourth at a random point, which is much better in the front of the pack. You are always gambling the number of front runners, but this is just like you're gambling the front runners and the end closers who hit Umamusume. Does come with a bunch of recoveries, though. Would suggest running her as pace chaser. I'm not the Super Creek Oshi player. I know a certain one is. He's the best resource for this in this case. Mummy Creek. I should have mentioned this. Mummy Creek Give Mummy a Hug doesn't work because for acceleration. It is technically a speed skill, but it's below rate. You're also giving up like the other gold recoveries and stuff, and you can't run Super Creek, so you can't get Swinging Maestro on this version of the character. So it's just a little bit tough in the long races. So that's why I suggest the regular Super Creek. Gonna grab a drink of water. All right, the BWAS. Presence from X almost will never proc because you will have Uma stands end closers be in front of you, which will break the chain after the 5 seconds. So Presence from S won't proc. Has decent character growths. VIP pass is a gold recovery, does come with IBAM and a bunch of other skills, but personally just run the regular BWA and probably even force her end closer or just run her in pace chaser. She can run almost all the roles. The wit growth is very nice because you're probably running solo wit, and comes with cooldown. Calm and Collected is pace chaser only, sorry about that. Win QED is a very good late race speed skill because you most likely will be passing somebody in the front of the race if you are trying to win the race by the end of the final straight, by the start of the final straight rather. Comes with a bunch of greens for this as well. Grass Wonder Fantasy might be the easiest character to build in the CM. Has stamina and wit growth, which are your two weaknesses because you don't really want to run too many stamina cards, and you can really only run one wit card unless you have a very ridiculous deck and are high rolling. And comes with 3 gold recoveries, including 1 innately. Relax again happens in the late race, but you can just get superior hero heal and cooldown, and then just try to get her speed to max. Basically, that's what you can do. There's some weird stuff you can probably do with speed power builds as well, just because of how much stamina skills are built into her kit. She's also ABA, which is really, really nice. Rice Shower. Her ultimate works. She does have stamina, and she does have cooldown, but the character doesn't really give much. The reason why you would run her in this position is because on your left would be stronger than head on, but honestly, you probably can run one of the other roles and she is better. Halloween version. Well positioned just means in front half. I don't think that's really going to happen in the late surger position. Tantalizing, of course, is not the greatest skill in the world. You get long straights. The character doesn't really just give you much. And Rice Shower can be played in the front runner position. So even if you're trying to just debuff people, front runner is actually kind of funny. Measure McQueen Anime is a late surger and a technical force, I believe, because late surger D mile F. But you can just run her medium and long schedule. It comes with cooldown and beeline burst. Doesn't really come with much else. Legacy of the Strong, less than 45% on a long race for total stamina should mean that this procs on the final corner or later. She shouldn't have a worry about that. Doesn't really give you much in the late surger position. You can run this character in other roles. Probably should run this character in a role that she's more built towards. I already talked about Super Creek. Already talked about Biwa. Manhattan Cafe, 30% stamina bonus is her strongest point. Sim really, really, really likes chasing after you for some reason. I think it's just because it has a chance of speed carryover. Does have a speed debuff as well. Maybe is taking that into account. Comes with an innate gold recovery, although it is 2/3 of a gold recovery in Stamina Siphon, also used to stamina check people. Relax is in the late race, so it is not the greatest skill in the world as well. Slick Surge is good, so she comes with Slick Surge. She comes with innate gold recoveries, 1 if not 2 if you like the late race. I don't suggest Relax still personally, but it's there if you absolutely have nothing else. Meisho Dodo comes with Indomitable. Indomitable is troublesome because you don't want to be passed, but hypothetically, if there's a late procking Umastan, you may have Indomitable proc early, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but character doesn't give much for late surger. Her ultimate is just a speed skill because the acceleration zone is not on the final corner in longs. Does have stamina bonus. If you're a Moshi player, you could play her late surger. I believe she has other roles you can play though. Satono Diamond is the new character. This is not the Satono Diamond review, so we are just going to gloss over a lot of this. Her ultimate is pretty good. It's a velocity skill that if you're well positioned, you're good, and it's stronger than a standard velocity skill if you are very well positioned. Comes with an innate gold recovery. Is the right-handed demon, as well as Miles C is going to really help her. So Measure of Bright as well. This is the character that is, hey, let's grab every single recovery in the game because this boosts my ultimate. There is a balance apparently that you have to grab with this character in saying, hey, I don't want to waste skill points on recoveries, but also recoveries help my ultimate. So there is a balance there that's going to be really difficult to manage, but at the baseline on these long CMs, you just grab every recovery if this character gets released because this is going to be a short build character. Grab every recovery and you'll live. That's what this character says is, hey, we're going to live. Oguri Cap Christmas, not an Oguri Cap Christmas player. As per usual, Festive Miracle is always just troublesome on this map because 777 is too late, particularly because it doesn't really give you much. Innate Experience is good. You can just treat her ultimate as a mid-race speed skill by just putting a bunch of mid-race speeds, but hypothetically, Small Breather turns this into on your left because Small Breather can proc immediately, and it can also proc in the late part of the late race, so this basically means that she has innate on your left, and you can also put another on your left on her. So all right, so if you can't get golds, you get whites, okay? So Nimble Navigator characters, this is the harder of the two to grab. So regular Oguri Cap does come with Nimble Navigator. Triumphant Pulse is a good skill. Yes, it does get clipped. Yes, Oguri Cap still is that good. Oguri Cap will still just win you races from Triumphant Pulse, even though her skill gets clipped. 20% speed, very good. This character is always going to be good on pretty much every map. Admire Vega, please run her end closer. She's built for end closer. She comes with Nimble Navigator. Shooting Star is back half of the pack, which like back quarter of the pack for maximum velocity. She comes with Storm and Drung for end closers. She doesn't really give you anything for late surgers. Please just run this character and that's what she is built for. Winning Ticket. Winning Ticket is... The problem with this character is you don't get any gold recovery, so you really need 1200 stamina plus 1 gold recovery and maybe a white recovery. Comes with Fast and Furious for the mid-race. Ticket to Win is surprisingly one of the best late-race speed skills in the game because of the 6-second duration rather than the 5-second duration. Just if it doesn't... The odds of you actually proccing this is quite large because you have to... how do I put it? In the situations where you're going to win, you're most likely being challenged by somebody because either a end closer is pushing past you and then you are making that ground back up, or you are passing somebody because you have high roll with NSM. So it's basically like if you're nimble navigatoring and you get a second nimble navigator on the final corner, you proc our Ticket to Win, and that closes everything out because this is like, I think 18 seconds or something ridiculous. Like these 1 second bases turn into like 3 to 4 seconds additional. And when they proc perfectly on the final straight, it's just like almost the entire duration of the final straight. So that's why these skills are so ridiculous, honestly. You just have to get into 5th place. This character also comes with every late surger skill you will ever need. That has been my TED Talk for Winning Ticket. All right, Slick Surge characters. If you can't get Nimble Navigator, get Slick Surge. Machikane Fukukitaru, hard to build. Bountiful Harvest does do things, does have overwhelming pressure, does have innate experience. Her late race is absolutely incredible. You have to fight for position with this character. I believe you technically can run this character end closer, but it's a force. But just load up on mid-race speed skills and as many excels, because once you get there, pressure plus innate experience is just an absolutely ridiculous late race with Bountiful Harvest as well. Regular Machikane, her Slick Surge event is disabled because it is her secret event. So that is very, very unfortunate and kind of just makes this character very hard to run for any reason except Oshi characters. She does have 20% stamina growth, just like the other one, I believe. It may have been 10-10-10, I think, on this one. Sorry for not including that. But does get a bunch of late race recovery skills, which is like something but not great because most likely you're living anyways. I added this one. This is special week. Special week Shooting Star, again, is interesting because hypothetically, if you pass a runner towards the front, which would be an uber high roll to do this immediately, you hypothetically have an additional 0.1 Citizen Black alt. In the late surge position, this most likely isn't happening. Most likely this is happening more towards the final corner in the situations where you're winning. So it's just simply a very good late race speed skill that has, I think, 5 seconds. Her Slick Surge event is disabled, so you are just left with a sort of bog standard backliner in this case. So you need to get all the skills you need for late surge on this one. She can run as end closer. It might be better just to run her as end closer. Swimsuit version has an innate gold recovery if you're able to get enough mid-race speed skills that it procs consistently. Corner depth, this is just really a nice little easy, hey, I just need to hit stamina requirements. This character is not the greatest, but hey, one of my friends had a random special week in the first long CM, I believe, actually just randomly win. So yeah, any character can win, and this character is pretty easy to build, honestly. Measure Orion, her ult doesn't work, so it's really, really tough. You have to get a whole bunch of skills to compensate because Let's Pump Some Iron only works when you don't hit something else. If you don't hit something else, you're not winning the race. So you want to hit either Nimble Navigator or on your left, and when you do that, Pump Iron gives you absolutely nothing because you're at max speed by that point. Rising Dragon is a mid-race speed skill. She does have that. Long Beam ILC is a little bit weird, but you can usually manage it. Otherwise, this character doesn't really give that much. Her Slick Surge event, because that is the Triple Crown, is also disabled. All right, we're going to go a lot faster. I know I've been going fast, but these are the characters that don't really give you anything late surger in particular, but we're going to go really from what I think is the strong ones, and then I just kind of go down the list. So let's start. Narita Bryant, very strong because Beeline Burst and Embody in Mind, and her stat bonuses. Shadow Break is one of the best skills in the game and is an inherit, and she has 2.5 of them. She comes with Passing Pro. Mile B can run end closer, might just want to run her end closer, can run late surger if you don't want to deal with the aptitudes. Symboli Rudolph, her ultimate is incredible. In the late surger and end closer position, you will most likely, in the situations where you're winning the race, pass 3 runners. It also delays until the final straight, so you will not have to worry about it proccing too early. Professor of Curvature is very good. Really should probably just run this character end because it's only NC. Getting straightaway spurt pretty much guarantees Behold at some point, and this character is very, very, very strong in the end closer position. It's just she doesn't have any gold recovery, so it's kind of hard to build. Festival Rudolph, Errol's Whistle is just a speed skill on the final corner. Inside Scoop doesn't really give much else. Doesn't have Pro Curve, doesn't have Behold, which is an incredible late race speed skill. Great stat bonuses, not the greatest in general, and also can be run in closer. Air Groove, Long E, so 4 long sparks. Surprisingly enough, also has Mile A, so you just don't really need any other sparks. Comes with a bunch of end closer hate. That's really the reason why you would build this character, is to do some minor debuffs. You can also build this as an ace. Her ultimate is very good because you are usually in the mid pack or behind as a late surger position. So Blazing Pride, pretty good skill in the mid race. Final corner. It was mid race in the mile, so it's a pretty decent late race speed skill. The wedding version, Eternal Moments, doesn't really work too much because you are not in the front. So the odds of you being in the front in the mid race, you're gambling on pack composition. So this alt just doesn't really work, and everyone has air groove. So I would probably just run the regular air groove. It does come with ramp up. Aishin Flash, if you are an Aishin Flash Oshi player, technically, if you're not rushed and you don't get a late start, Sword Schwartz is a good late race speed skill, and you have IBAM, so you have some late race. It's just really, really difficult to get your mid race and your accelerations and your gold recoveries. But if you're an Oshi player, you'd be up for the task. Valentine is hard as well. She basically has Rudolph ult. I don't know why they named it differently. I think there's probably something that's a little bit different. Someone enlighten me in the comments, but it just looks like Rudolph ult to me. That is worse as an inherit, but slightly better, I think, on her. Long shot standard distance will help you with stamina requirements. Late surge corners, but not much else. Good stat bonuses as per usual. ECP Fantasy. Condor's Fury just doesn't work because it's an acceleration skill in the final corner. 1.5 mil in Rising Dragon, but honestly, it's real tough to suggest ECP. You might just want to run it in one of the rules that has a guaranteed excel to give yourself a chance. Nice Nature, you're running this character for the debuffs. All Seeing Eyes is the one that works outside of mediums. Just a little farther, if you're wanting to do it as an ace. Late race, third, it gets clipped, but I mean, technically it's a Triumphant Pulse if you're in third place, and it may be enough to make you win. You know what you're doing if you're building this character. King Halo is hard. You probably should run her End Closer. There's nothing stopping her from running End Closer. Doesn't give you much. OPP, good skill. Best skill in the game. Good aptitudes for this scenario. You have to work at whatever aptitude you're wanting to go for. Technically, I think has all 4 aptitudes for the race, so that's kind of interesting. Would probably build her End Closer, honestly. Yeah, I really End Closer. Measure Dober, her ult doesn't work because of the same reason as Measure Orion's. Late Surger straights, but nothing else except for the 10 speed, 20 wit, which is very, very, very nice. Harurara, good luck. I wish you the best of luck. I have no idea how anyone's going to build this character. If I lose to this character, it's honestly a massive W. You are very much stronger than I. I couldn't even do ticket on the dirt CM. Agnes Tachyon ult is 3 through 4th, which is very, very, very hard to proc. You are gambling on pack composition. Most likely there is a Kidus Black or 2 in front of you and or an End Closer in front of you. It's not the greatest to do in late surger. Perhaps just do Pace Chaser with this character. Fuji Kaseki, these were all ones that I think were in the previous... these were all in the previous ones. Narita Taishin, just run her End, please. Fine Motion, please run this character as End Closer because she does technically give you right-handed, but if you're running this character and forcing this into long, at least force her into the role where she has better aptitude and has straightaway spurt. So please don't do this to her. Gold Ship, please play this character as End. I know I was kind of being a little bit funny because I missed straightaway spurt, but I guess technically you can run this character late, but please run her End. She has everything you need except straightaway spurt. She has Umamusume, really good mid-race speed ult. But again, there's going to be End Closers behind you, so Anchors Away doesn't really work too well when there's like 5 End Closers behind, and if they're in front of you, you're already in trouble. So, yeah. So, here's the brunt of it. As a late surger player that I like to play, your problem is that on your left requires 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th to proc. It requires back half. You need to get a different acceleration in order to have a chance of winning when you're in the front half of the pack. If you don't, you're just going to be passed by End Closers. That's really the brunt of it because they're going to hit straightaway spurt and you're not. You do have a little bit higher power modifier than they do, but it's not enough. So this both gives you flexibility in how well your mid-race has gone and also gives you the high roll potential when they both hit perfect proc. And these high roll potentials are going to be how you win the game because this is very difficult CM for us late surger players. Please load up on late race speed because if you load up on late race speed, when you hit your on your left in the back half of the pack, you're more likely to take it to the finish line. You'd still need mid-race to fight with the End Closers for position, but if you don't have any late race whatsoever, you're going to find that even if you hit your on your left, your late race speed is just not strong enough to beat the Taishan coming around the corner with Nemesis, okay? Again, you're only at a 1.5 length disadvantage, at least from my calculations, in speed to the end closers. It is a lot based on, it is basically downhill RNG, which wit does help with that, but you need to hit your stats as well. This CM is just all going to be stats. The end closers do have an advantage. It is not insurmountable. That is what I am trying to say. As full disclosure, I'm running a singular late surger for oshi reasons. The smartest play, if you're trying to absolutely 100% win this CM, is to play end closer and front runners. What I'm trying to say is if you have an oshi that is mainly a late surger and cannot be stretched into end closer, or you do not want to stretch her into end closer, and she's a late surger, you can play her, you can build her very well, and she can win some races. And when they do, you will feel very, very, very happy. She may only win 5 races. She may only win 3 races. She may only win you finals, but that is going to mean a lot more than, hey, that third end closer, box standard end closer that also gets a 20% win rate, but also steals 10% from other characters that we're going to win anyway. So the couple of races you wins, you're technically hurting yourself by running a late surger. But just like pace chasers, hey, we're in this for the love of the game partially. It's not complete cope. It's not like going to kill your run. You're going to win just from random hits and because you have stamina and people don't have stamina. So you will see your late surgers win if you build them right, but it is not the number one top meta thing to build. Okay? Always remember, with late surgers, this has not changed from any other CM. When every other character and role misses, which happens, it does happen. If the end closers all miss their spurt, or they don't have enough stamina, and so their spurt gets delayed, all of a sudden, the late surgers have the stronger acceleration at that point. If the front runners miss their Kiddos in Black, it's kind of difficult on Kiddos in Black, but again, if they run out of stamina, or they, for some reason, are just not in first place, their Kiddos in Black's not in first place, all of a sudden, the late surgers have the stronger acceleration, and even if they proc it, if you get a high roll, you can still just have more acceleration than them. They're only at 0.3. You can get, you can get 0.4 if 2 things proc at the right time. So not all hope is lost. Here's your checklist. I like to do this at the end. Get your minimum stats. I suggest 1,000 plus 2 gold recoveries. The late surger coefficient will help you with rush protection, with debuff protection, or you can go 1,200 plus a gold recovery, and if you want a little more protection, you can go additional white skill for some debuff protection. Get Slick Surge or on your left, that is required. Get a secondary acceleration, that is required. So some sort of Slick Surge plus Nimble Nav or Ig Power or Ig Guts. Gold ones are better. They will give you a little bit more high roll potential. They are like double excels, so you kind of want one or the other if you can. Your borrows the CM for sure. Super Creek, then Nice Nature. I think that's pretty much the 2 that you need for late surgers. Try to grab Umamusume if it comes at it. It will help you a lot in fending off those end closers in the early race. Daring Strike is tough to beat. You do have Furious Feet. Then at that point, get more stamina, get long S, get more power, get more wit. These stats are quite low. Like I said, these are minimum stats. More stamina is going to help you. More power is going to help you. More wit's going to help you. It all depends on the strength of your deck. Okay? So this has been the late surger guide. Up next is the end closer guide. I apologize again for how long this took, but there was just a lot of stuff to do, and again, I had a lot of real life stuff. I'm trying to get the end closer guide out pretty quickly. I'm not going to do every single character for the end closer. If there's one that I've missed in the first Pace Chaser and Late Surger guide, and I haven't talked about the character yet, I might do it, but mostly because end closers are going to be meta. They're probably going to be the strongest role in my opinion. Maybe Kiddos in Black is stronger than them, but I'm going to go over the very good characters because if you're playing end closer and there's some characters that are free that are very good, I think you should do yourself a favor and have them carry your CM a little bit by building them right, okay? So end closer guide to come. I do have some other content coming out. I probably will do a run-along run as well. Front runner guide will be after that. I'm trying. There's only 10 days until registration. We waited until Make a New Track to become out in order to do all these guides. It may not have been the best decision. We're all rushed. It's going to be a difficult CM. I appreciate your patience. Hope you all enjoyed. Burb out.